Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Don and this is my 76 Trans Am. I'd like to give a shout out to Tavarish because he inspired me to do this. Okay, to get on with this has been a project of mine for about 5 years. I'm going to do a budget build, and what I mean a budget build, I mean budget. There is no extras. You do your brakes, you do this, you do that, but you've got to build it properly. You have to be able to stop, and the car has to be able to run properly. So, on with the car. This is a 76 Trans Am. Every panel on it is rotted out. As you can see, the front quarter, rear doors, wheels, everything on this car is shot. It's a 4-speed manual. I don't know if you can see that, but we'll get to that here in a minute. The reason I bought this project is because this is the last year of the 455 4-speed. Rear ends look not too bad. The front panel and the rear panel are looking okay. All the sides, everything are shot. Okay, there is no rebuilding this car. You got your... I can replace all the body panels. The problem is the cost. The pillars... Whoops, I'm new to this. The pillars are shot. They're rotted right out. Spent too much time in the weather. The interior is rotten out of it. The floor is rotten out of it. I'll get back to you here in a sec. Alright, now we're back. We got the keys. The only good part of the car. This is a running and driving car. Not legally, of course. It's got holes in the floor. It's got rot right through the trunk, right through everything. Well, tripod wasn't a good idea for this, but we'll continue. Here we go. Hey, look, ground. But everything in this car doesn't work. But the reason I bought it was because of the 455 4-speed. This is a running car. And there you go. 455 Olds. Last year. So, you're going to ask me, you're going to have questions. Budget build. This car needs a shoot ton of money. Well, what I did was went out and found a donor. Found an 80 turbo, which I started to pull the front end off of. And that is here in the garage. The body is excellent on it. It's got some rust, but nothing too bad. The car is actually in pretty good shape. The turbo was shot off it. It's a little 302 turbo. 301, one of the two. Anyways, the turbo system was removed way before I even got it. The engine, it was left outside without a hood. The engine is completely full of water and pooched. The reason I got this was for the body. The interior is in pretty good shape. It has got some rust. The mice were living in the back, so I had to go in through the trunk, take off the latch because the lock was seized. The roof liner is coming down. And what we got here is actually a car in pretty reasonable shape. Very rarely will you find it with the center console not broken, and this one's actually intact. It has all the pieces I need. I just have to switch the whole car around. There's the turbo hood. Wheels, of course, are shot. It sat outside for a while and 20 years in a barn. Front fenders, they are actually in pretty darn decent shape. And yes, I know my garage is messy. Last year, or 2 years ago now, somebody broke in, stole all my tools. So I'm rebuilding slowly. This project's going to be done with hand tools for the most part. I do have a little air compressor now, along with a couple little hand tool or air pieces, but for the most part it's all hand built, hand tools. I've done it this way before. I've done it years and years ago, but the air tools are nice when you get them. The underneath of the car is actually solid. Very rare will you find a car up here in Canada that is in as decent shape as this one. There's a little bit of surface rust, but very minimal. Okay guys, one of the reasons I got this car is because it's got no cracks. I've checked it with a magnet, I've taken it down, and it's a solid car right through. The undercarriage is completely intact. The floor, the trunk, I haven't pulled the fuel tank, so I don't know. It had mice in it, but other than that, it'll need a complete new interior. But the main part of the project is to swap everything from the 455 into this car. So, I've done builds outside. I'm fortunate enough to have a cement floor and a roof over my head. The garage is exceptionally dirty because I live in the windy part of town. As you can tell, it's not a sealed garage. There's air coming through in the garage everywhere. Somebody did try and fix it up at one time, but this is what I'm playing with. The furnace does not work. So in Canada, you don't have a lot of time, and finding sports cars up here in Canada is getting kind of tough. The older ones. The new ones you can find, but they're not as common as my friend Tavarish down in Florida. He can get Bentleys and Lamborghinis. They're very, very rare up here. I like the old cars. So they're easy builds, and what you got to do is work at it. I have very little time. I got a weekend off. I'm usually driving truck for a living, so I got to get as much done as quickly as I can to get this car, if I can even drive it this summer. Again, this motor is completely shot. It's an automatic car. Which has to be switched over to a 4-speed. So I have to put in the pedals. Luckily, there's no computer or any of that stuff to deal with. And an added bonus, disc brakes on the back. Very rare in the 1980s. This was a 1980 Turbo Trans Am, but it did come with disc. So that'll save me a bunch of money. Yes, the rotors and everything will be replaced, but still, it's a budget build. You have to have good brakes. You have to do things properly still. So, to get the rest of this front end apart, I have to pull the drive shaft yet, the transmission, engine, and that whole front clip will come off. Then I can bring the other car in here and start doing the same thing to it. Remember folks, safety first, always use stands. Block it if you have to. If I get underneath the car, the jack goes back underneath there. As you can see, I use the stands. And everything will be safe. Always protect yourself. You're going to end up with this older stuff with cuts and bruises, so have band-aids available. Okay guys, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get started.